Good morning. I think we'll go ahead and start with a vaccine update this morning. More than 1.52 million doses of vaccine have been administered to eligible Iowans 18 and older. 86% administration rate in the state of Iowa, ranking us 5th in the nation. 40% of Iowans 18 and older have received at least one dose, which puts us at the time that this report was given to us at 17th in the country. 85% of Iowans 65 and older have at least one dose, and 603,000 Iowans are now fully vaccinated. That's about 25% of the population, and we're about 7th in the nation for the number of Iowans that have been fully vaccinated. You know, last week I was so pleased to welcome Reverend Jonathan Whitfield, a Corinthian Baptist Church, and Dr. Yogi Shah, Chief Medical Officer of Broadlawns, to talk about their unique collaboration to ensure vaccine equity among minority populations. I had the pleasure of visiting the clinic last Saturday, and I was amazed and I was inspired by what I witnessed. There is nothing more gratifying than seeing people come together with the sole purpose of caring for each other, and I want to commend everyone who made that day possible. It was nice. We had Secretary Vilsack that was able to stop by too and see how well the clinic was running, so it was nice for him to have an opportunity to participate in that as well. We had more than 100 volunteers and 33 community organizations that were a part of this very important effort to vaccine more than 1,100 individuals, 60% of whom identified themselves as people of color on their vaccination form. This partnership between a faith and medical community worked, and it's something that we hope to replicate across the state. Members of my team in the Department of Public Health, they have connected with 4 Catholic dioceses across Iowa to identify ways to support vaccination clinics for more minority and refugee communities in the coming weeks. We're also working with pastors across the state to support their needs. So a quick word of thanks to Reverend Whitfield and Dr. Shaw for your inspiration and most importantly for your leadership. We look forward to adding even more momentum to the movement that you and your team and all of the volunteers started. So heartfelt thank you. So I'll give kind of an update on a CDC study. As you know, COVID-19 vaccines have shown to be highly effective at preventing the virus and minimizing its severity. Rigorous clinical trials were conducted to study the safety and efficacy of the vaccines before they were authorized for emergency use by the FDA, and testing has continued since then. Just this morning, Pfizer announced the new clinical trials of their vaccine show an efficacy rate of 100% among adolescents aged 12 through 15. And while more testing is necessary before emergency use of the vaccine with young teens use could be authorized by the FDA, I think it's promising news, especially when it comes to keeping schools open and resuming a normal school year in the fall. And earlier this week, the CDC did release results from a study that it conducted to better understand how vaccines performed in real-world situations. Over the period of 13 weeks from December 14th through March 13th, the CDC conducted a study of nearly 4,000 healthcare workers, first responders, and others with essential frontline jobs who were vaccinated with either Pfizer, or the Moderna vaccine. About 63% of participants received 2 doses of vaccine, and 12% received at least one. All were routinely tested for COVID-19 each week, regardless of the symptom status. And the results of the CDC study showed findings that are consistent with those of the clinical trials. The vaccines were 90% effective for those fully vaccinated and 80% effective for those who got only one dose. So knowing that the vaccine performs as expected when put to the test under real-life conditions provides even more substantial evidence of the benefits of vaccination, especially for working-age adults. According to the CDC, the study reinforces its recommendation that all eligible Iowans should be fully immunized, and I want to echo that. For months, we held on to hope that a vaccine would eventually be available and that it would make it possible to get life back to normal, and I think we all can say that time is now. Vaccination is the best way to protect yourself and others from COVID-19, and it's what will allow us to fully return to living our lives in the ways that we value the most. It's what Kevin and it's why we were both vaccinated, and it's why I'm asking Iowans to do the same, and there's no time like the present. So as we talk about eligibility and we talk about the allocations that are being sent to the state, next Monday, April 5th, all eligible Iowans can be vaccinated. Age 16 and up can receive the Pfizer vaccine, and age 18 and up are eligible for Moderna and the J&J. Expanding eligibility opens the opportunity for more Iowans to be vaccinated, but it also means that more Iowans will be vying for the vaccine appointments as they become available. So even though the vaccine supply is increasing, there still, at this point, won't be enough doses to vaccinate everyone immediately. It will take some time to work our way through the process. So again, we're asking you to please remain patient. Our local public health departments and our vaccine providers statewide have proven time and time again that as our system of vaccine distribution and administration, that system is working extremely well. So we're just waiting for those allocations to continue to increase to states across the country. So while demand increases over the next few weeks, getting an appointment, it may be challenging in some areas, but just as we've experienced when eligibility was expanded previously, it doesn't take long before appointments become more readily available. We're also taking additional steps to ensure that those with barriers to scheduling an appointment can easily get help. So 211 Iowa is expanding its vaccine scheduling service to assist individuals 65 and up, and also those ages 16 to 64 with underlying health conditions. And these are individuals, again, who can't schedule an appointment on their own, whether that's due to technology issues or language barriers. By simply dialing 211, selecting number 9 to speak with a vaccine navigator, and providing some general information, they can be scheduled for an appointment at a nearby pharmacy. In addition to scheduling at Hy-Vee stores, 211 can now schedule appointments at some of the CPESN network pharmacies. So again, we continue to expand that out, which of course includes Medicap pharmacies in some communities and others in some of our rural communities as well. So with increasing vaccine supply and expanded assistance for those who need it, I'm confident that everyone who wants to be vaccinated will have a chance to do so. President Biden has said that if we double the number of vaccines currently administered each day, 75% of Americans could be vaccinated by May 19th. If we stay at our current daily administration rate, we'll reach 75% by July 2nd. So, there's a lot of variables that go into that, but if we continue to see the allocations increase and we're able to scale up a lot of the clinics that we're putting in place, I think the future looks pretty good for getting Iowans vaccinated. This week, the federal government also announced that it plans to expand its retail pharmacy program nationwide. And the good news is that the number of participating pharmacies could be increasing by as much as 20,000 nationwide, which will mean, again, even more vaccine locations in Iowa. While we don't know yet which pharmacies could be added in our state, we anticipate that some are already in the program. And that, again, would include smaller pharmacies in rural areas that have received very limited allocations so far. They could actually see an increase in their weekly federal supply, improving vaccine access for their communities. Yesterday, the White House COVID response team briefed governors about vaccine allocations anticipated for delivery next week. I am pleased to report that we will see a significant increase, especially in the J&J vaccine. Across the country, 21.4 million doses will be allocated to states and territories, plus an additional 8 million J&J will be allocated to the federal retail pharmacy program. In Iowa, it's our largest allocation to date, so nearly 120,000 doses for the state and another 41,000 for Iowa's retail pharmacy partners, which will total nearly 161,000 doses of vaccine. And the state's allocation will include 45,800 doses of J&J, which of course we all know is the single-dose vaccine. And so that's included in that number. And these will be directed to the remaining employer vaccine clinics. And we project that the vaccination of essential workers in food processing, ag production, as well as manufacturing and distribution companies will hopefully be completed by the end of next week. We may have a small number that will roll into the next week, but by far the majority of that cohort will have had the opportunity to vaccinate their employers. J&J will then be more widely available to Iowans. And because of the convenience of the single-dose vaccine, J&J really is an ideal vaccine for those whose work schedules may not have the flexibility for 2 appointments or for populations with an immediate opportunity. And such is the case for our college students. So the state is working now with regents, private and community colleges to support the vaccination of college students and the staff before they leave campus for the summer. This will protect their families upon their return home, and it will ensure that they have been vaccinated before they come back to school for the fall semester. Next week, a small allocation will be provided to Dordt University, Northwestern College, the University of Iowa, and DMACC to begin student vaccinations. In the weeks following, we'll allocate larger amounts of the J&J vaccine for this purpose and provide a regular allocation to our local public health departments for local use as well. So I think it'll be nice to get some of those out, the J&J out to our counties and to our amazing local health providers. Today, I am pleased to welcome Rob Denson. He's the president of DMACC, and he's going to talk about the importance of vaccinating the students, the faculty, and the staff at Iowa's colleges and universities, and really how DMACC is starting the process. So, Rob?
Thank you, Governor Reynolds. Last night, we got a very exciting call that this opportunity was going to be made available to us. I want to thank the governor for this big opportunity that allows us to open our doors even wider and even sooner so that we can give students the kind of educational experience that they want. Since last March, DMACC has followed rigorous facial coverings, physical distancing, incident reporting, and contact tracing guidelines. And we've been very successful, and we've had no on-campus community spread. On March 5th, DMACC announced its Come Back Strong Committee and the fact that this coming fall we will be back to the new normal, which is as close to the old normal as we can. We want to make sure that our faculty and staff are fully vaccinated so that they can safely work with the students that come back, and that as many of our students as possible have also received the vaccine. Although the details are being finalized as I speak, we will receive 1,000 doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine that will be made available and offered to our 859 full-time employees, our 1,300 adjunct instructors, and as many of our 12,000 college-age students that are working with us and in school this spring term. The plan is to conduct a vaccination event at our new Student Center, affectionately known as Building 5, on our Ankeny campus on Wednesday, April 7th. And working with the Ankeny Hy-Vee stores, we plan to have our health sciences program fully engaged in the vaccine administration, including our highly trained DMACC nursing students. And we've also partnered with Grandview so that a number of our Grandview nursing partners will be able to be there helping with administration. They have declined my offer to help, but I may be parking cars. And I'm excited to say that we've got the Johnson & Johnson single-shot version. I aged into a shot in February. and having to wait 28 days with the uncertainty of vaccine supply and schedules and everything else, the timing was tough. I'm pleased that our faculty and staff will have an opportunity to get the one-shot option, and data shows that Johnson & Johnson has 100% efficacy against hospitalization and death, and the fact that Governor Reynolds and her family received the J&J vaccine gives us a lot of confidence and hope in the success of this vaccine. This announcement helps assure the success of our fully reopened plan, and our students and the businesses that hire our students will be the beneficiaries. This also moves up our best case scenario as far as vaccination by 31 days. All of our previous planning indicated that it would be at least May 8th before we would have an opportunity to make the vaccine or any vaccine available to our faculty and staff. And I urge everyone to get whatever vaccine is available to you as soon as it is available, and you will feel great and glad you have it done. You know, why would anyone take any unnecessary risk with their own lives and the lives of their family? I know my wife and I are very excited this weekend on Easter. We'll see my 95-year-old mother in Cedar Rapids for the first time in many, many months. And it's because we have been vaccinated, she's been vaccinated, and we've had the time for it to take effect. And I do want to give a shout out to Helen Eddy and the Polk County Health Department for her personal engagement in helping us move so very quickly to get this vaccine up, planning done, and in the arms of our faculty, staff, and students next week. So, Governor, thank you so much for all you're doing to protect Iowa lives and allowing us to serve our students. And I know you'd be disappointed in me if I didn't offer you a DMAC mask in recognition of and appreciation for all you've done. So.
I have more DMAC paraphernalia than any other person. Rob and I get the opportunity to work together a lot, don't we? And you never come without something that has DMAC on it, so I appreciate that. And honestly, Rob, I appreciate your effort and your team that you've put together to your vaccination clinic already, and how you're creating a learning opportunity for your nursing students at the same time. I think that's incredible. So we look forward to supporting the effort and those of other schools across the state as we continue again to build this out. In addition to briefing governors on vaccine allocation this week, the White House COVID response team also emphasized that while we must be focused on vaccination, we can't forget that until a majority of Americans and Iowans are vaccinated, we need to remain intent on managing virus activity. And this is something that Iowa's COVID response team continues to monitor on a daily basis. Even now that virus activity in our state is as low as it's been in several months, while we have monitored a slight uptick in positivity rate, we've not seen evidence to suggest it's leading down a concerning path. Our positivity rate is under 5%. COVID hospitalizations are under 200. At this point, we have 2 long-term care outbreaks that account for a combined total of 16 cases. So we still, very stabilized compared to where we were at in November and December. But today I've asked Director Garcia to provide an update and really the context of the current virus activity that we're seeing in the state of Iowa. So with that, Kelly.
Thank you, Governor. We are making exciting progress on the vaccine front. And with nicer weather, things are starting to look more closer to normal, which is wonderful. However, we must still recognize that the virus is circulating in our state, and we're seeing that in the numbers. A part of the increase in positive cases that we're seeing has to do with spring break travel and an increasing number of variants, which are circulating in Iowa and across the nation, and they are more contagious. We also know that fewer people in Iowa are being tested, and so for those who are going to get tested, they are doing so because they are symptomatic. Please remember that free testing remains accessible through Test Iowa, through the entire system, and they are supported by our state hygienic laboratory. For all of these reasons, it remains critically important to follow all of the mitigation measures that we've taken over the past year. Stay home when you are sick. socially distance in public when you can't wear a mask. It is especially important that everyone get vaccinated as soon as possible and take any vaccine that they are made available to them. We now have key tools to stop the spread, and we must use them. Approximately 1/3 of the reported virus activity over the past week is between age group of 18 to 29. And a reminder that in these counties where we're seeing an increase, their populations are low, but we are watching any increase every day. So on April 5th, when many in that age group will become eligible to receive the vaccine, I implore you to schedule your appointment. I've recently had a few conversations with young, healthy individuals in that age group who question, why should I get vaccinated? And my answer to them is emphatically, yes, you should. While you may be healthy and less likely to have a really bad outcome yourself if you get the virus, think about your older loved ones in your life. Think about those you work with. Think about young people in your life and those who you come in contact casually in your daily whereabouts. You don't want to be the person who spreads this virus into those in your community. This is a community action, and we need everyone to participate. You all need to do your part to continue this path throughout our pandemic response, and thank you for doing your part. As we head into Public Health Week next week, thank you to everyone who is working on this response. This work has always been important, and now that is true more than ever. This pandemic has highlighted how critically important this work is, so thank you.
Thanks, Kelly. Just continue to appreciate you providing kind of a full picture of what's happening, and it's a good reminder that we can't forget to take the precautions necessary to protect ourselves and others from the virus. We continue to make incredible progress, and I want to thank every Iowan for doing their part. So now I'm asking you to take that final step in getting life back to normal. If you get a chance, get vaccinated as soon as you are able and take whatever vaccine you're offered. Every vaccine is safe and effective. In fact, if you're looking for a vaccine this week and you are 65 and older, or between the ages of 16 to 64 with at least one underlying health condition, Hy-Vee and 211 Iowa are partnering to offer a community vaccination clinic in downtown Des Moines this weekend. It will be held on Saturday, April 3rd from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Community Choice Credit Union Convention Center. And all you have to do is schedule your appointment is to call 211. Appointments are still available, so don't wait. Call today and get vaccinated this week. I also want to let you know that 211 vaccine navigators will not be scheduling appointments this Sunday. They will be enjoying a well-deserved break as they celebrate Easter with their families instead. But scheduling will resume as normal on Monday morning. On that note, I want to wish everyone a very happy and hopeful Easter. This holiday in particular symbolizes new beginnings, and I believe that we're on the cusp of exactly that. We've endured a difficult year, but we are strong and we are resilient, and we are now moving ahead toward better and brighter days. This weekend, I hope you have the chance to enjoy some precious time together with the ones you love. I know it will mean even more for Kevin and I this year as we gather with our family. So God bless you all, and with that, we will open it up for questions.
Governor, if it's especially important that everyone get vaccinated and we need everyone to participate, why not make, as a condition of employment, vaccinations for state employees in care facilities? Why not make that a requirement?
Well, what I'm saying is we still have a limited supply. We're opened it up. People have the opportunity to get the vaccine, and we're going to continue to encourage them to do that. Not going to make it a mandate. That will be a decision by private employers, excuse me.
Governor, to follow up on that, there was a report today that there was some federal data put out about long-term care workers in general in the state, and that 55% of them had gotten both doses. And now there's, as you mentioned, a couple of long-term care outbreaks currently after getting to 0 a few weeks ago. Is there anything more that the state needs to do to encourage long-term care workers to get vaccinated?
Yeah, well, so we're going to continue and we're going to circle back, especially as we see the allocation increase. We actually saw about 60% of our staff that took advantage of the vaccine. And as we came back for the second dose of the first cohort, we saw additional staff make the decision to step up and get the first vaccine. So I think we did three rounds, and then we'll continue to work with the facilities to encourage them and make available vaccines so that they can continue to encourage our staff to do that, especially as they see turnover. That's going to be something that we're continually working with our long-term care and state facilities across the state.
That 60% number, are you referring to state-run facilities or to the whole universe of care facilities in Iowa?
I believe that, wasn't that a...
It's long-term care pharmacy partnership utilization.
Okay, it's long-term care, federal pharmacy partnership utilization. I'll get that word out, so it's from them.
So all facilities in the state, private and public?
Yeah, it would be all of them that was part of the program, right?
The public run were not.
Yeah.
Opted into that.
Yeah, okay. That wasn't the public facilities, is what Kelly is saying, I believe. That was the long-term care facilities and the assisted living across the state.
Governor, your colleague in Maryland, Governor Hogan, is partnering with FEMA to send some mobile units, particularly out in the really rural areas, to try to get the folks that have been hard to get to. Is that anything you'll look at, or do you think the counties will be responsible for that?
Yeah, I mean, we can look at it, Dave, again, if they bring the vaccine, but actually with our population, with the partners we have in place, and with our local public health officials, we are seeing them really do the outreach. We have mobile clinics that they've put in place. People are willing to drive. We're, the luxury of a small state, and we're seeing a lot of regional vaccine clinics being set up across the state. We continue to build those out. We're continuing to work with other faith-based organizations to continue to build those out as well. And they just have a special connection with the people in their community, the people in their parish. And that, I think, is really helping drive maybe people utilizing and getting the vaccine, eliminating some of the concerns because they know the individuals, they're doing that extra outreach that it takes sometimes to provide the education, to make sure that we have the communication tools in place. And so that's always something that we can take a look at. But again, as they, I don't know who all the pharmacies are, but they're expanding the federal retail pharmacy program. And so, which I assume will include Walmarts and more rural pharmacies across the state. So it'll be nice. This is something I'm sure that's going to come up on the White House call next week with governors, because it's important that we have some indication of who those partners are, the allocation that they're getting, because that really impacts our overall strategy and how we allocate the vaccines that we get at the state level and how we're being held accountable for what's getting administered in the state. So, I mean, it's so important. We are so lucky that Hy-Vee is one of our partners, as well as CSPEN, because they just are an Iowa company. We're very familiar with them, and they've done a really, really good job of keeping us informed when they get, an extra allotment and when it comes on Thursday at the last minute and we weren't aware of it. And so that's been nice to help us adjust and then to be able to bring on additional partners and to be able to take that next step in expanding eligibility.
I'm sorry, I don't think I said this, but I meant to say also homebound, and I left that part of the question out. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
but,
okay. Okay.
So just talking to some county health,
Yep.
some of them have figured out a way to do that.
Yep.
And as you know, once you pop the vial,
Yep.
the clock's ticking to use
Yep.
it.
Yep.
Some counties have struggled to figure out how to do it. Some have figured it out on their
Yep.
own. Do you have any guidance on how
Yep.
that'll happen for the homebound folks?
Well, they are making it happen. In addition to that, Director Garcia has been working with the MCOs, and one of them, in particular, has made over 10,000 calls to some of our homebound population to just identify what some of their barriers are to getting the vaccine. Those names and that list is being sent to 211 to help facilitate some of those scheduling issues or barriers. But in addition to that, I think as we see Johnson & Johnson become more available, we'll start to see those, and we're making those available to all of the county local public health departments. That'll go out in next week's allocation, and we can continue to see that ramp up. So that's the thing that, it's those kind of populations that a single dose is just really advantageous, and it doesn't require the special handling, especially that the Pfizer does, and it's still coming in the large flats. So, that's another reason that we have to really think through where we send 1,100 vials of Pfizer and or doses and how we allocate that. But, I talked to Carrie again up in Fort Dodge, which is Webster County. And when I went up there for the first clinic, they've done 2 since then. She had already started working with her homebound population because a lot of them, they already have relationships through the home health work that they already do. Again, especially in these rural communities, they know who they are. They know how they need to coordinate with them. And then, it's best practices. I bet you do weekly calls, if not more than that, with local public health across the state, and that's an opportunity to highlight what some of the counties are doing as best practices and build that out across the state.
Governor, we're seeing some counties where the vaccine is more available than others. Will you consider shifting allocations to get the vaccine to the more in-demand or high-demand counties?
Well, we're already doing that somewhat with every time, it was based on population, and then as we've increased doses, as various counties have been able to do some regional vaccination clinics, or if they're able to do the throughput and have the ability to do that, we've adjusted the allocation. So, the main thing is we want to work with our local public health. We want to work with our providers. Hy-Vee has done that. I think I talked about that the last couple of weeks where they've seen, ask has exceeded the supply, and so they've readjusted the supply, especially to Polk County, Waterloo, I think was another area, and maybe Cedar Rapids or Lynn. So we're really able to kind of adjust and move some of those allocations. And again, as we continue to see our allocation increase, we'll be able to potentially do more of that.
We've seen a couple of counties, I think, move ahead a little bit of the April 5th date. Maybe you can explain why some people have been able to kind of open it up to everyone already. And then my second question is, I saw a survey recently of Iowans, and I think it was about 45.5% of Iowans said they would definitely get the vaccine, which leaves really almost half of the state saying they're not going to, which is, I'm assuming, behind why you're pushing people to please get the vaccine when it becomes available. What do you think is behind that? I mean, do you have any sense at all when you talk to people or go around the state? I know you're doing your 99 county tour now, talking to people. What's the sense that you get for why there's so much resistance?
I'm visiting clinics, and so I can tell you that the response that I see from Iowans that are there getting the vaccine, there is a pep in their step. They are so grateful to have it. They are excited to reconnect with family members. They really believe that this is an opportunity to get things back to normal. I've heard multiple families tell me how grateful they are that the long-term care facilities and the residents have received the vaccine, so now that they can be back with their loved ones, and some of them haven't been with them for over a year, so there's a lot of positive momentum from that. Again, we're working with our faith-based organizations. We're working with community leaders. We're going to where they're at to continue to educate, to make sure that they get the information. We have to make sure that we have it in a language that, that meets the need. And so, there's a lot of things that we continue to do on a daily, weekly basis to just continue the outreach. I think I'm hoping I'll have another great example next week to talk about, about another partnership that's being developed and how we think that can really encourage people that are vaccine hesitant to not be afraid to get the vaccine and how important it is. But it is about, I think, the community leaders, people they feel comfortable with, really talking to them more so than me, I think, but we're going to continue to advocate, continue to get materials out there and get them the education to help move people to get it. And then the other thing is they're just, we have counties that have different populations and smaller populations or different makeups within the county. And so they're able to move through the various tiers. And the bottom line is we don't want anybody sitting on vaccines. We want those vaccines in the arms of Iowans. I believe that is our goal, and it is the goal of everyone that is working through this process. So it is a joint effort, a collaborative effort, and so we want to make sure that we're not the barrier that's stopping that from happening. That would not be good. So.
Thank you.
Governor, looking ahead to Monday, kind of piggybacking off that, the infrastructure, the state, the county public health, the providers, the pharmacies, how confident are you that all those pieces are ready for what I assume will be a huge influx in interest in people?
Yeah, and we're going to continue to see that go up. So next week, I think it's 166,770. But there are already, there is so much communication and collaboration and coordination that's going on a daily basis. And even when I'm out visiting the clinics, all of them, everyone I've been to so far has said, you know, we can scale this. We've got a system, we can do the throughput, we can get people in our community, surrounding areas taken care of. So if you send us more vaccine, I can guarantee you we can get it in the arms of Iowans. And we're just continuing to look for opportunities, areas of the state, how we can continue to develop and partnerships to continue to reach populations that maybe we're not getting to. We want to make sure that we're doing that in an equitable fashion. And so far, I think I want to just commend the team on the work that they have done. They just work on this 24/7. And our local public health, Rob, you gave a shout out to Helen Eddy and, in Polk County, but that's happening in every single county of the state. They are really committed working with the state public health and then just our retail pharmacies and our clinics to get this done. So I'm confident that we can do it. Certainly, the will is there, and they put a lot of work into taking care of the residents in their communities, and it's really inspiring. So if you get a chance to go to them, I think you should participate, because it is really, Saturday was incredible to see the coordination and just all the different people that were brought together, the room that was doing data, the room that was putting the shots together, the room that was there to help Iowans move through the process and get the vaccine, and then the sanctuary where they actually spent the 15 minutes making sure that they didn't have any reaction. And that while I was there, they had already done 600 vaccines and they hadn't had one reaction, so they had a really good positive response and turnout to the vaccine.
One more part of the question, if I
Yeah,
might. I'm sorry,
yeah,
I
that's okay.
apologize. But do you have the gun bill on your desk now? Because
I
I understand
don't.
there was a delay to
Yeah.
get it to you.
I don't have it yet.
Okay.
So I expect to receive it this week, but
Do
I
you
have
know,
not
do you
received
know why
it.
or what the holdup is at all?
No, I mean, it's
Okay.
not unusual for that to
Okay.
take some time.
Have-
And I don't know when it passed the Senate, to be really honest. I
Right,
I
okay.
attended funerals and have been, out, but we have not received it yet. So we anticipate, though, getting it this week.
Given it much thought yet?
Well, of course, we're getting ready to look through it with the team, so.
Okay,
Thank you.